Welcome back to the Cannabis Community Project.
This is the Cannabis Community Project. Oh, yay.
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project, a weekly podcast high up in Denver, Colorado, exploring the business side of this newly emerging Colorado economy while living the lifestyle.
The 6 degrees of Cushley. Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Thank you very much and welcome to 2016. It has been a journey. I gotta apologize this right off the bat to those of you loyal, dedicated fans, cannapreneurs who follow me, listen to me, have been there all along. Those of you, you know who you are. I apologize for taking such a long break. It's been a hell of a time making this transition into the new studio, but it is finally done. I am finally broadcasting from the Dank Studios out of Park Hill, Dank Recreational Medical Dispensary, 3835 Elm Street in Denver. Come by and see the studio. I'm right off to the right when you walk through the front door. The CCP radio show has a home, and that home is called Dank Colorado Medical Recreational Dispensary. A very large, over 5,000 square foot facility. It's just so much going on, really building a community here. Jay Griffin and I, one of the owners, have been in talks, in negotiations for the last couple months, maybe close to 3 months, working out the details, getting things set up, and we're finally here. We finally got the show in a permanent fixed location at a dispensary of all places. I mean, I would have been happy just to have an office building somewhere where there was kind of a studio set up, but who would have thunk, right? Thought? Who would have thought it? I don't know. But to actually be connected with a dispensary brand, to be on location of a community of cannapreneurs where there's other businesses involved on the premise here, I really feel like this is going to be the year, 2016. This is going to be the year that just so much can happen. I mean, not just the possibility and the opportunities, but so much is going to happen. I'm underlining the is and putting it in italics and making it bold because I'm saying so much is going to happen. And I can already feel it. I want you right now who's listening, if you're within the Denver area, you have to come down to the studio. Because if you listen to the show and if you listen more than once and you're in the area, there's no reason why we shouldn't know each other. There's no reason why we shouldn't at least do one of those, a little handshake where you just slap the hands across and fist bump. We can at least do that, right? There's going to be expansion to the show. Not so much changes. I mean, it's still going to be the same show that you're hearing now, that you've been hearing. But I'm going to bring more. I got a second show lined up that I'm ready to bring forth. Not quite the same show that I was thinking with the Deity Dozen and the whole religious side of cannabis. That got put on the back burner after I got burned by the First Church of Cannabis and the relationship that very quickly came and went. I tried to join their affiliation. I paid the membership and basically found out that they're more stoners than they are, organized religious people. Couldn't get their stuff together. I had to actually file a claim with PayPal to get my money back. It was a whole ordeal. So I put that on the back burner. But I had a better opportunity come along. As some of you know who have been following, I've hooked up with the Aurora Cryptocurrency Center. I think we actually have a show that's going to be pretty interesting. A show that I'm going to incorporate a little bit into this one just for exposure so you can kind of hear what it's about. And then it's going to be its own complete independent show. I don't even know where to begin to explain this. It's going to be about cryptocurrency, which for those of you who don't know, you may have heard things like Bitcoin, stuff like that. But it's also going to be about medicinal patients and how to create an investment fund for patients to have access to money to buy the things they need, like meds and other types of medical treatments, maybe, I guess is the best way to say it. There's a lot of people coming to the States, leaving their homes with their children who are struggling financially. I really think I've come across a way that can not just help people by doing single donations, but a way to actually invest in patients and medical patients using cryptocurrency as a way to stem and fund that process and build a revenue from it. We're going to mine Bitcoin, and we're going to buy Bitcoin. We're going to invest in Bitcoin. We're going to speculate on Bitcoin. We're going to do everything out there with cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin, to maximize the opportunity that's happening right now in this world. And as a result of that, there's going to be money that's made that is going to be available through the nonprofit out at viz.red, the nonprofit that we're all going to be involved in this community and start funding patients. And this is so exciting because this show is going to go beyond any standard show. It's not going to be just a sit-down interview type show. It's not going to be like what I do now where I just kind of focus on one topic like business mostly. We're going to be exploring cannabis in a whole new way. And we're going to be doing it through cryptocurrency. We're going to be talking to dispensaries about how the interaction with customers functions with cryptocurrency, about how dispensaries can sponsor patients, and every time customers purchase products at no cost to them, the dispensary can also sponsor medical patients to keep their medical programs alive and keep it affordable to patients. And we're going to be talking about privacy, being anonymous, and security of blockchain documentation, about how dispensaries are involved in heavy documentation where the blockchain technology and Bitcoin could be the answer to that. We're also going to talk about banking concepts and saving, where cash businesses deposit their money at the end of the day when federal banks and even state banks are turning their noses at a business structured bank account. So people are left with depositing large amounts into their personal accounts or carrying cash around with them, doing everything in cash transactions. Well, Bitcoin may actually be one of the solutions to where dispensaries can function like banking activities in the sense of a place to put their cash where it's safe and might earn some money, but also a place that is private, anonymous, and secure from the overreach of the federal government. What does this have to do with patients? Because the outcome of being involved in cryptocurrency is the fact that we can make money from it. And that money can be funneled through the nonprofit we have going, which can fund patients in need. Patients, like if you go to the Impact Group, where you hear stories from young kids to teenagers to adults to mothers and fathers talking about how their child has changed from epilepsy and seizures when they started taking cannabis, but now they're homeless because they came to Colorado just to try to find the medicine they need, so they gave everything up behind and they're struggling so bad financially. They are basically homeless. Well, here's an outlet of a way as a community we can help fund them and we can get them back on track using cryptocurrency. I just wanted to give you a quick insight to what I have coming up in 2016 for you, what we have going on. Every time I move forward to a new year, I have to just think about where I came from, how it all started. I mean, the Cannabis Community Project, the goal is to investigate, every aspect of cannabis as a way to create business, fuel economic growth, locate career opportunities, right? This is not your Son Stoner show. Few people know that CCP was founded after my brother passed away a few years ago from a hard fight with leukemia. He lost that battle right around 2009, but he was able to inspire me with his work in cannabis. He was a top grower in the Emerald Triangle, all the way from Sacramento down to San Diego, basically lived his life as a top shelf grower, working out of his home, using his bedrooms as grow rooms and supplying, just a handful of pounds on a cycle basis. And that was his living. And ironically, when he got sick, some of the access to the cannabis medicine that we have today in concentrates and capsules and some of the high potent stuff people are using to fight these battles just wasn't really that prevalent, even in California, even in 2009. Trust me, he smoked heavily. But when you're dying from leukemia, you don't just need flour. And that's really what brought me to the point of wanting to do something more. I mean, I'm not a grower myself, but I am very passionate about cannabis and a few other topics. So I took what I knew I could do. I took the topics I was interested in: cannabis, media, business. And I formed the CCP radio show in memory of him, This idea of being a cannapreneur in this business to make life changes and positive societal changes. Yeah, I went off to school and got an education. Yeah, I've done other businesses. Yeah, I've worked for corporations. All that's meaningless. It means absolutely nothing compared to what I'm doing right now and what we all have the potential to do and be part of. This is the digital age. This is the cannabis age. And this is the age where literally anybody can be an entrepreneur because the opportunity is so abundant. Sometimes all you need is just somebody to lift that veil and show you that it's right there in front of you. And that is my hope of this show. That if we can focus on details associated with starting a business in the cannabis industry, and if we can highlight people like patients and even the users, consumers, retailers, even those geeks in the garage that are creating the innovation in cannabis and all the extraction technology and the next device and paraphernalia and vape and this, all those people out there who are using their brain power to make this industry better, well, this is the media platform that it's all going to funnel through right here. The Cannabis Community Project and all the podcasts that come with it. We're going to be exploring these topics. All of it together. Together we can build this industry and focus on the issues like health and legal issues, even food, even the art and music. Yes, in cannabis, art and music. And of course the basics like growing technologies and other types of innovation. We can crowdsource this show together. You and I. All you gotta do is get involved, participate, listen, share the show with your friends, go to the website, explore the sponsors, see what's there, because all it takes is interaction, movement. We can get people employed, right? There are thousands of business opportunities, and even more once hemp production begins. Together, we can get this industry up and growing and up and going. Do you have a business, an idea? Maybe you're in full swing right now and you want to share it. Maybe you need some help, like how do I actually do marketing? I've never done that, even for cannabis. How do I form a business legally with the state? How do I take my idea and protect it, intellectual property, before I get it manufactured? Well, together with my guests and my correspondents, we can cover all these topics that just happen to focus on cannabis. It's a business show that focuses on cannabis. So through the basics, we're going to learn it. There's money to be made through a legitimate industry, so we might as well get people legitimately employed in it. Because a lot of you, maybe like me, were criminals because of pot, right? Pot. I haven't smoked pot since high school. We can turn these into cannabis careers. Let this show help you grow a garden, help you save money, help you start a business, help you network, help you communicate, help you express yourself in your industry. See, this is one industry that can save the Colorado economy as well as the U.S. economy. And like many, from rural farmers and towns to industry jobs, it's all kind of dying with the infrastructure that's in place and the economy that's kind of functioning. So now is the time to do something. And what a perfect year. 2016, a presidential election year of all things, where people get motivated, people get educated, people are ready to make change. See, the infrastructure is already in place. All we have to do is just use it and modify it to cannabis. We can make it happen. You can make it happen. This is just as much of an issue for those retiring as those newly entering the workforce. It's time to get involved and show the world how to shift that money from jails, courts, and hospitals to shops, farms, and fabrication, all taxed and positively industrialized. Join me. My name is Brainstorm. I am a cannapreneur building a show for and like-minded people. I'm changing the lives of individuals by helping them find opportunities as entrepreneurs. I believe in the saying, you are what you do and think about most of the time. I created the Cannabis Community Project to find like-minded people who have a similar story and desire. Here we go, 2016. Grind and burn! Hey Cannapreneurs, this week's show is sponsored by Dairy Berry's Recording Studio. Dairy Berry's Recording Studio, located in Arvada, Colorado, is your local recording studio with affordable rates. Mark is well experienced and will make your show, music, or any audio you have sound great. He makes our show come across the internet loud and clear every week, and he can do the same for your project. Take a look at dairyberriesrecordingstudio.com or call Mark at 303-456-8216.
All right, my name is Jay Griffin. Welcome to Dank, Colorado. We are keeping kind. So we're located in Park Hill, Colorado. Well, we're about 6,000 square feet with a total plant count in the neighborhood of 1,200 plants. So I'm an owner member of Dank. Started here about 4 years ago. Dank started 6 years ago. It's an LLC. We have 4 member partners that share ownership of Dank, as well as a number of other businesses that we're able to start up during this progress and during this movement across the nation. Well, I think that it's a real personality trait that is a testament to my success, is that very detail-oriented and like to do things a certain way every time so that it's the same and very consistent. And when we're building a company, we want all of our staff to be able to do things the same way as the other person. No one's going off on their own, particularly with an industry that's so heavy in regulation. In 2013, as Dank was looking forward to recreational sales and finding it difficult to find financing through regular venues such as banks and obtaining loans, I was able to step in and loan the company some money at that point, and it was offered in lieu of a return of that money. There are some shortcomings in our facility, HR being one, because none of us have been really trained in that, and it's just through experience that we know the ins and outs and that type of operation. Well, I do feel like I've achieved quite a bit in the last 5 years, but there's always, in this industry, there's brand new opportunities every day, so it's very challenging to identify those that you think are going to be worthwhile and a success. And being that the industry is new, everybody wants to team up with you and they feel that they can bring something to the table, so you have to really dissect all that and make sure there is some value in teaming up with people. And so it's a little easier for me to get a vendor that Dank is not using into the consulting group network because the consulting group is advising and meeting with people nationwide. And so I have an opportunity for those folks to place their marketing information on the wall. We have a whole vendor wall of display. So even if Dank is not currently in business with those folks, they still have a voice in the consulting group.
I appreciate your time. Let's make sure to give people who don't want to solicit you, but maybe want to reach out to you, a good way to contact you or at least check out the facilities.
All right, good. Please stop by and see me. My name is Jay Griffin. I'm the owner member here at Dank. We are at 3835 Elm Street in Park Hill, 80207. So please, you can reach us online at www.dank-colorado.com. We also have a Twitter feed at Colorado Dank. Our Instagram page is Dank Colorado, and our Facebook page is also Dank Colorado. Incidentally, our name is Dank, but we had to add the Colorado on the end of that. Of course, with anticipation of adding other states to the end of that. We have expanded at Dank, Colorado, but shortly we're going to have Dank Trinidad, and we're going to have Danks all over the nation.
Excellent. I appreciate it very much. You know, it's 2016. How long have you been thinking about getting involved in the industry? Now is the time. If you have an idea, a business, or just some comments, talk about them with me on this show. The Cannabis Community Project. It's here for you. Brainstorm at cannabiscommunityproject.com or from the website under the same name. Today's show, we're talking with Matthew Mills from MedX, a great company that's up and starting, but not really. It's using crowdfunding to accumulate millions of dollars. You're going to want to hear about this, especially if you're a grower and you're concerned with things like fungus and pesticides and all the other little things that require control and maintenance in the grow room. You're going to want to hear what MedX is doing. They've come out with a product that's so great, the state of Colorado has already approved them on their approved pesticide list. This is one of those companies that you might want to actually think about investing in, which you have the opportunity to do because they are crowdfunding their campaign. And if you're a dispensary owner, you're going to want to listen because there's a different way of investing in yourself through this product alone. I talked with Matthew Mills from MedX, talked about how they got started, what their company's all about, where it's going, how they run the day-to-day functions of keeping an organization alive, where funding comes from. Some really interesting stuff, especially for those of you who are thinking about starting bigger companies or bigger projects. You're wondering how to raise money when banks don't really want to give cannabis industry money. Where do you get it from? Well, you turn to the crowd. Kind of like Kickstarter, but not really, because this is not donation money. This is shares for money. Shares, stocks, right? Where you get a piece of the company. You actually become owner versus Kickstarter where you're just kind of donating to get some t-shirt or hat or initial prototype sent out to you. I don't have any short-term memory relapse for you this week because we've been out for the last month. Let's just push aside all the shenanigans, get right into today's show. Matthew Mills from MedX. Here we go.
Damn. A hard day's rocking.
Man, I doubt it.
Oh, interesting.
Cage, come here, I want you! What? God!
No, we're not gonna do that. I'm just like, what? Like, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
Can't you tell that it's been hard for me? Sitting in the lap of luxury, interviews and bottles of booze, people touching me to see if I'm real. Can't you tell that it's been hard for me? Private jets and fancy wheels, hardcore drugs and groupie love, big hotels and endless fruit meals. This fame, fortune, this celebrity, one day it's gonna be the end of me. This fame, fortune, oh, it's all I see. One day it's gonna be the end of me.
So I'm Matthew Mills. I'm the president, founder, and chief operating officer of MedX Inc. MedX Inc. is a medical marijuana research and development company. It's also an ancillary products company for the industry, as well as a digital media outlet. The Marijuana Times is our brand. We're building our brand to take our products and other people's products to the next level and bring them to the public's eye. Very unique situation with our company for sure.
Very cool. And you're currently promoting this through the startengine.com crowdfunding site?
Yes, Start Engine is our crowdfunding portal. You can get there a couple of different ways. One, you can go to startengine.com and click on the MedX tab, or you can simply go to our MedX website, which is MEDX or hyphen like in a phone number, rx.com. And you can learn all about our company. Right now we're taking reservations. We've got about almost $2.5 million in reservations. We started this on December 14th. Things are happening quickly. Very exciting time for us for sure.
Yeah, you're rock and rolling. I'm looking at the site right now. 2.49, almost 2.5 million. $420 of that is my pre-reserved reservation. I went ahead and threw my name in there.
Nice.
It looks like a very interesting product. Let's quickly go into what the product is, some of the distinguishing factors from other types of growing solutions and growing products, and just kind of touch on what you're doing versus what everybody else is doing and what makes MedX taken off like a wildflower. Am I correct on that?
You know, I'm not going to say right now it's taken off. What I am going to say to you is it's positioned to go all the way. This product was developed over about a 5-year period, and this is the Nature Side all-purpose insecticide. This was approved in 2014. After we registered it in all 39 states, the EPA in the states require registration to register your label. And a number of states require the efficacy behind that label, meaning that you've got to prove what your label says the product actually does. So we went through about 4 years of R&D on this, almost 5 years of R&D, field tested it. We actually own a pest control company. I'm actually a pest control licensed qualified applicator here in the state of California for agriculture. So I've got a background that focuses on pesticides, and we built this for a number of reasons. We didn't just build it for cannabis. This is a product that's used in hospitality. Hotels use this product for bed bug problems and other problems throughout their property. Because it's 100% natural and effective, they can use it regularly without having any issues. It's also used in pest control as a green solution. I'm an IPM, which is an integrated pest management specialist, focused on pest management without using poisons. Poisons is the last resort. And because of all this research and because of all this work, it automatically was put into the Colorado State Registry, and they put it on an approval list for use in cannabis cultivation. That said, we had already focused on the industry itself and having issues with pesticides, and everybody knows this. It's sweeping the nation right now. There's news in Colorado all the time about cultivations being quarantined, edibles being, taken off shelves because of pesticide contamination. There's a lot of issues with pesticides, and it really comes from, this training and this thought process of continuing to use pesticides is basically there because the people that were in the shadows when it was illegal to cultivate are still using the same type of practices. They're growing in bulk. They're not really cultivating. They're growing. They're growing in bulk with things like trellis nets and bunching plants together in small rooms where you can't get to it. And the only way to really treat it when you have a problem with pesticides is just to fog it or smoke it. These type of, uses of pesticides are just riddling plants. Here in California, it's a big problem.
Oh, yeah.
Dispensary after dispensary, and there's no oversight here in California yet, but there's dispensary after dispensary that we've tested, we've looked at, and I've yet to find a dispensary in our general area that we've tested product on that doesn't have pesticides. It's a big issue. It needs to be stamped out, and this will come with oversight in companies like ours that were really never in the shadows, and the others that were in the shadows crawling out of the shadows and legitimizing their businesses and their cultivations and the things that they're doing. We're really excited about this. We've just done a patent application at the latter part of last year for an insecticidal soil product that we've developed, and we've been cultivating with it, and we are completely bug-free. As a matter of fact, the soil that we've developed actually takes the plant to a place where it even needs less Naturicide to be used around it. I've just gone through 2 cultivations, full cultivations, and never needed to even treat the plants. Wow. Just the room around it with our natural product. And that's what's really cool about it is, you can use the product every day.
Yeah, this is definitely something that here in Colorado, most people are well aware of. Colorado has a little different setup than California, but anybody that lives here in states on a weekly basis is hearing the news about, as you just said, thousands of products of edibles being taken off the shelf, thousands of plants being confiscated and quarantined by the Department of Health. It's a big issue, and it's a big issue that I don't think people are quite aware of. I think there's maybe a gap in some information of that growing. People think just like farmers, it's a plant, you grow it, whatever works for corn or squash must work for any other plant. So what you're pointing out here is that cannabis is not just like any other plant, that it requires maybe a certain type of cultivation because the end use is a different type of consumption than just eating it like a corn or a squash.
Yeah, and I'm an agriculture guy, so I know all about how things are processed. Things like cherries and apples and grapes and all of these other things, you can use your traditional pesticides on these products and be able to harvest them and clean them. Mm-hmm. And that's how it's done. You go to any market, find that there's an organic section, and then there's a section that's just the regular produce. Right. And that produce has gone through a process. It doesn't just get picked and thrown in the store. You have to go through checkpoints when you bring produce to market, and they test that produce. And believe it or not, the sun and the oxygen in the air, you could pull up with a truckload of cherries, it fail, you get back in line, 3 hours later, you get to the front of the line, you might pass. So there's a lot of things about pesticides that need to be realized. And I really want to point out something here. It saddens me when we see these quarantines. It saddens me when we see edibles being pulled off the shelf. Not because people are doing things the wrong way, because they're spending so much time and spending a lot of effort to do this, and then all of their work goes down the drain. I hate to see hard work going down the drain. And this is where we want to educate. Our product's really inexpensive. Any grower can afford it. It's not like it's out of line. And as we get into June and July and we get our Nature Side soil package, we're going to hit the road. That's what this money's for.
There's a lot of things that go into educating, I guess, a marketplace. And a lot of it comes from individual growers and I guess dispensaries. The media also plays a big part in it. I mean, this is not a product like an apple where you can take home and still wash it in your own sink at the end of the day. You can't bring your buds home and run them under the sink and wash off all the pesticides. It just doesn't work like that. So this is something that, even though you say it's not taking off like a wildflower yet, I have a feeling that once this is in full swing, it's going to be very, very successful for you just based on that premise alone.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We've yet to spend any money on marketing. We started this company in 2014, and we started it after a very long thinking process and a very focused group of individuals. I'm the brainchild behind it. I'm not the genius behind it, but I'm the brainchild behind it. I would say that our CEO, Dr. David Toomey, is the genius behind it. This guy is heavily educated. He's a clinical investigator for some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the country. He's got a very good track record. He's an expert at things like end-of-life care. He's a hospice doctor. He's focused on pain management. This guy really knows his stuff. Yeah. His continuing education that he's doing as a physician, he's spending as much time as he can getting his continuing education credits in the marijuana sessions that are given to physicians now on a regular basis. So he's been traveling around doing his credits for the last 2 years. I've been doing cultivation and learning everything. Our CFO is Silicon Valley guy. All of us have had long track records as professionals, never entered the arena of cannabis ever. As a matter of fact, my CFO, he's never even tried marijuana. What makes us different is we're a group of professionals that have had a lot of success, and we've now educated ourselves greatly. It's about 2.5 years of education. My education has been in cultivation and pest management, as well as operations. I'm an operations guy out of the .com arena. I actually sat with a company that has a $600 million market cap, pushing out $200 million a year, and I was the chief operating officer of that company. So I've got a lot of education in regards to operations, logistics, setup, and then obviously over the last few years getting myself educated with agricultural as well as pest management for agriculture. So you bring all of us together as a group and include our board of directors, which has got a neurologist on it as well as another physician, and you just put us all together, and the knowledge that we have as a group is extraordinary. And you start looking at what we've done. We started this in 2014. We brought our investors in through the Jobs Act, and we raised about a little over $1 million. We spent $300,000 on a laboratory. The laboratory has no overhead. It's built on a property that I own, so it's no overhead there. Did the research, got our patent pending, in place for the insecticidal soil.
Let me just clarify. Are you selling this product now? Is it on a market shelf in a store somewhere, or is it in the process of development?
The Nature Side product, we have a sister company that houses our corporate headquarters and owns 10% of Medex, doesn't charge us any rent for our corporate headquarters. I am actually the developer of Nature Side personally for my sister company. Through my sister company, Pacific Shore, our product is actually in hospitality, and it's also in pest control in the commercial space. Okay. So we're selling the product commercially, and now we've given Medex the exclusivity for the cannabis industry as a whole in the United States. We've developed it. The development's done. Our testing of the soil is done. We're packaging the soil now, and now we're going to repackage the back label of the Nature Side all-purpose specifically for the cannabis industry. Nice. And then we'll register that. Again, hey, it's got a different label on it. We'll register it with all its efficacy and all the things we need to do to it. And then we'll take both the soil and the insecticide. In June, July, we're planning to market hardcore. hit all the trade magazines, go to all the shows. The beauty of bringing this capital into us is we don't need to build anything.
Yeah.
We've already got corporate headquarters set up. We've already got a lab going. Well, none of us as officers and directors of the company are drawing salaries. So all of the money that's come in from investors thus far has hit the bottom line and built up our assets. Just today, I received all of my equipment. We spent about $70,000 on extraction equipment because we've got some really good strains of low THC, high CBD strains that we're going to start extracting and bringing it down to a concentrated level so we can start using it in various focus for supplements and other pain-related issues that we can start using this on our patients that are in our cooperative.
It sounds big to scale, like you're really building up a very large infrastructure here. How does that work? Since nobody's drawing a salary, you're all independently stable financially where you're able to pursue this full time? Are you working another job somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I've got myself, Dr. Toomey, Ron Trzewski, our CEO, our CFO, and myself. We're investors first. That's really what we are. Dr. Toomey is a full-time physician. He's got 3,000 patients. I have various consulting work I do. I'm also the CEO of the other company I told you about that houses MedX, so I can have my hands on both companies at the same time. And, so I don't need an income. We don't need income from this yet. When the revenue flow starts happening, things start really jamming for this company, then we'll talk about revenues. But we really wanted to make the investors recognize that we mean business. We're not messing around here.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we developed the Marijuana Times. This is a digital publication that we're also going to be spending money on to build out a full-blown network. And I'm sure you know this. There's not a lot of places that good cannabis-related companies can advertise their product, their services, and the things that they can help the cannabis user with. I mean, there's not a lot of places. And
Right.
we got a couple of venues you can advertise on, but there really isn't one where people can go and they trust what they hear and trust what they see. And that's what the Marijuana Times is all about. I don't know how far you've dug into the Marijuana Times, but the Marijuana Times is a big group of writers that are writing original content. Their stories launched every day. We have an email that goes out at 4:20 every day it's medical, it's legislative, it's strain review. You don't go there and go, oh, wow, it's hot time. Your kid, stoner friends hang out. This is where people who need to know about the industry go. This is where there's real stories. There's legislative stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff here. It's for anybody who is truly a patient that's using cannabis that needs to know more about cannabis. And that's what the Marijuana Times is going to grow to be. Over the last, I would say 30 days or so, we've seen about 500,000 people come to it, over 1 million page views. It's definitely gaining some focus. And obviously with our crowdfunding campaign doing what it's doing over at startengine.com, people are starting to recognize that we're going to be a real player in the game, especially with this proprietary product that investors are very excited about because it's got a high margin on it and it's still very affordable for the cultivators.
And is this a non-toxic product to humans?
Yeah. I mean, you can spray it on, pretty much anything. As a pest control specialist, I do a nature side YouTube channel, and you can see me using it in the field, hotel rooms, killing cockroaches. You can see me just annihilating everything I touch. And I actually take it and I drink it. I'm going to be at the Marijuana Investor Summit in the beginning of March in San Francisco, and I've been asked to demonstrate the product on stage. And Matt, can you drink it in front of everybody? And I'm going to do it. People need to know about safety.
Showmanship. You got to have showmanship in your sales presentation. You can't just tell them a bunch of facts. You got to show them.
You're absolutely right. And making it real. We're a group of guys that very focused on our communities. We looked at this a couple years ago and said, you know what? This is an opportunity not only for us. This is our opportunity to change things and help the change that needs to happen. And when we took the crowdfunding aspect, this new Jobs Act of 2012, crowdfunding Regulation A+, we're really the first ancillary products company, research development company that's locked into Regulation A+ in the nation. We mean serious business, and you'd think, oh, wow, you guys get, without even blinking, you got for almost $2.5 million reserve, investors want this, and not really that many people have seen it yet. Right. It's just kind of new. You haven't really spent any money on real marketing. It's just been podcasts and YouTube influencers and a couple of press releases. You'd think, wow, you guys ought to be celebrating and happy. Look at all this happening. And it was there for a second, but now we've all taken a step back. More of a responsibility now. We have the responsibility of guiding multiple companies, not only in this sector, but in other sectors, with this Jobs Act positioning. And we've got a responsibility to take this Jobs Act and put it right next to the cannabis industry and show others how to do it so that we can help grow this business and bring the oversight that's needed. Bring enough money from the people into this thing where there's enough money for oversight and the patients start getting product that's clean and safe. And we're also developing things so you don't have to smoke it, because smoking is really bad for you. It's not good for you. And I know a lot of people smoke and that's the way they ingest their medicine. But our focus with getting the extraction equipment is we're going to start developing products that I can take this supplement and it's going to do everything I need. That's our goal, to be able to develop supplements that giving you all the effects that you're going to see by smoking or ingesting an edible. Our focus is developing supplements and things that doctors can get behind and go, look, this is perfect. This is exactly what you need. Right. Stop smoking, use this. That coupled with all the things that we're going to develop, and obviously getting this capital from the crowdfunding stage is just the first phase. Our plan is to bring in investment bankers, bring in market makers, and go after a position of being a publicly traded company and really bring capital to this so we can really expand our barriers, start buying up all the great companies, all the great little companies that are popping up everywhere. There's so many of them. I don't know if you've gone to the shows, some of the marijuana convention shows, from the investor summits to the actual shows. There's a lot of good people out there that have developed ancillary products that, hey, they need money, they need help. Well, we're going to be the company that's going to go in there and partner with them, give them the money to take their products national and help them along and own a piece of their company for doing it. And these companies are excited. They're like, wow, see that you guys are going to start seeing funding. We definitely want to get next to you. Let us know when you're ready, and let's work together so you guys can help us. And, our goal is to make money for our investors over the long haul, as well as, carving out a little slice of the world that we help change.
It seems like it's working effectively, because last week when I looked at the site, I think it was around 1.5 million. So in a matter of a week, you've had close to $1 million of interested people sign up and want to follow you here. So I think it is catching hold in the little bit of marketing you're doing. The few places that are there are also the places where most people concentrate, because there's such few places. So it kind of works both ways. There's not a lot of outlets, but at the same time, everybody kind of aggregates around those outlets, and you get your message out there. Since you've brought it up, the 2012 Jobs Act, let's just go ahead and clarify what that is, because you're referring to a law in 2012 that allows people to do crowdfunding, not crowdsourcing like a Kickstarter, but actually investing for shares in a company, which is a little different than donating money to somebody's project or campaign. You're actually selling percentages of company for money, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. The Jobs Act of 2012 has enabled our company not just with the crowdfunding aspect, but on September 23rd, 2013, the first aspect of the Jobs Act came into play, where it allowed companies like ours to solicit, and I'm talking cold solicit investors, buying lists from investor companies that create, lists of people that are accredited active investors. So it gave us the ability to do a Regulation 506C, which allows somebody who's accredited $1 million net worth or a $200,000 income annually, and their net worth is excluding their home. And if they have that net worth, you're allowed to solicit them, send them a package, and get them invested. Well, because of my background raising a couple of different companies, we had a big group of investors right at our fingertips that we know, that we called up and said, hey, we want to take this project on. What do you think? And they funded us immediately, jumped in and said, hey, let's do this. We see the team. We're all over it. They funded us immediately, got us, again, we raised a little bit of money decided, let's build a lab first. Let's get some results. Let's get the marijuana times up. Let's get these things done so we can have something in our back pocket that's done. And then we were waiting on this crowdfunding aspect to come into play. Well, sure enough, it came into play. And as it came into play, we had already started writing memorandum. We had already started going through the process. It's not an inexpensive thing to do. Not everybody can do it. Got to put some skin in the game as a management team. You got to work and you got to invest in yourself to pay for this stuff. But we were able to do it. And a new crowdfunding Regulation A+ basically gives us the ability to show this to everyone, not just an investor that is, running a $1 million portfolio or a $300,000 portfolio that's accredited to throw, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 at it and, verify that they're this and verify that that. I tell you got to jump through some hoops to get investors locked in with that regulation. But this new one allows us at $420. If you make $4,200 a year as a person who's over 18 years old, and you want to invest $420, you can. That's never happened before in modern times. So you've never been able to invest in a company this kind of level, hundreds of dollars instead of thousands, as a non-accredited investor. So a lot of people that are investing are your $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year income in middle America person is recognizing, hey, look at this company. I can invest in this sector. And look, I don't have to risk a bunch of money. I can just invest a little bit. If this hits, hey, I can make a great deal of capital. So it gives the opportunity. It turns all of us into investors and investing in companies that are in our backyard. This is a big opportunity, not only for small business, but it's going to create exactly what it's been created for. It's going to create jobs. I'm very excited about this. I get to create jobs. I get to change the world. This is an incredible position to be in. And as you hear me say this, you hear I'm excited, but you also hear at the same time that this is definitely a responsibility now. I've got to pave the way for others to come in and follow this and do it over and over again so that not only we can create jobs, but as a group across America, we can create millions of jobs and stimulate this economy and get some tax revenues in and do the things that this law, this Jobs Act law,
right,
has been created for. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And for the amount of investors that have already reserved shares, you should see how many are $420. It's a pretty neat thing to see.
Well, as I said, I'm one of them. I signed up because it seems like a no-brainer to me. This is exciting to hear you talk about this in that aspect, because one of the conversations I have on a weekly basis with different dispensary owners and people with their own businesses in the industry is how do you provide opportunities for those wanting to be employed in this industry when there's only so many bud tenders, so many growers outside of the dispensary? Where are the jobs for the industry? And there's a lot of kind of scratching heads of people not really sure where the jobs outside dispensaries are going to come from. So what you're pointing out here is that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of industries that revolve around cannabis that aren't necessarily dispensaries or grow houses.
Here's a big one right here. One of the things we're doing is a big one. This is going to create a ton of jobs, okay? The Marijuana Times. Okay? Right now, it's a digital publication. In the background right now, I'm negotiating a deal to turn the Marijuana Times into imagine the Fox network, Marijuana-ized, where it's got video content, it's got blogs, it's got everything you can imagine in entertainment. That's what I'm building. I'm building that. I'm going to build a network called the Marijuana Times Network. This is going to create job after job. I've already got, I think, 15 writers on staff. Nice. There's jobs. Imagine when we go to the next level and I have 5-6 million people a day coming to this website. How many jobs I'm going to be able to put under that? And that's just one aspect. You start looking at the things I'm going to be able to do in the horticultural arena with cannabis and being able to put this product when it goes out into serious crops, because we know right now there's no serious crop. There's a lot of people cultivating. There's a lot of companies cultivating in 50, 60,000 square foot facilities, 100,000 square foot facilities. But when this thing goes to the next level and it's legal and we're, growing industrial hemp, going back the way things were a long time ago where hemp was part of every day, there's literally millions of jobs that can be created just in the horticulture side of this thing. And that's where we're going. We're going to take the Jobs Act and we're going to use it for what it's for. And we're going to take the cannabis industry and create job after job after job while we help protect the patients and do no harm and help people get out of the shadows. And the Marijuana Times and Medics is just that. We're going to help people crawl out of the shadows, legitimize their businesses, and create more jobs. And this is why we're doing what we're doing. Why it's turned from a, hey, we've got a good business here. We can all make money as investors, but now we've got this responsibility that's coming behind it that's even bigger than what we first anticipated.
What would the path been if the Jobs Act didn't exist with this company over the last 3 years? Where would you be today? What would have been different? How would it have been affected if we didn't have that Jobs Act?
I probably wouldn't have jumped into it. I mean, the hurdles are huge. Getting out there and raising capital, it would have taken us a lot longer. The Jobs Act, has been our whole capital resource from day one. Every dollar that's been brought into this company has come from the Jobs Act positioning. Regulation 506C with the general solicitation rule put us in that position. We know a lot of investors, but it wouldn't have given us, we've got a couple of new investors that invested $100,000 here, $200,000 there, and they've helped us out. But with this new positioning, it lets us go out there and attract, a lot of people. And with that being said, I don't think we would have the effect we're having right now without the Jobs Act. The Jobs Act definitely enabled us.
So what would you tell somebody who didn't have, $1 million or kind of a corporate background where you knew how to start companies, but somebody who is starting in this industry, who does have a product or some type of business, who has a few dollars, and they're looking to still pursue this industry with a legitimate effort like you're doing, but at a very small scale? Is there differences, or is there still fundamental principles one has to follow to build a business regardless of the size?
Well, hey, you know what? The principles for building a business are always going to be the same. It doesn't matter if you're in the cannabis industry or you're in the green products industry. When I say green products, just, environmentally friendly products company. You could be building widgets. Doesn't really matter. The same principles go in. And the Jobs Act was created so not everybody can just go raise capital and have a business, okay? It's positioned to where to use the Jobs Act, either Reg 506C, it costs you money to get it done. You got to have good legal. You got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in your business. You got to get some people to help you invest and talk people into investing. And there's investors all over the place that love this industry. So it's not as hard as it may seem, although you got to be careful because 506C allows you to general solicit. Raising it the old way doesn't allow you to solicit, doesn't allow you to put it out there. So to me, I'm looking right now for businesses that are starting. They've got a good product. They've got some distribution. They're starting to get revenue. They don't have any debt. They've invested in themselves. There's a group of them. They're not drawing any money from the capital they're bringing in. These are the kind of companies that I'm going to get next to, and I'm going to infuse, and I'm going to help them grow. That's part of this responsibility. We've got no debt, no big giant overhead. So the millions of dollars that we're going to receive for this is going to allow us as a group of investors to go around and invest in these things while we build out our platforms and continue our motion with our ancillary products, our research, and our digital publication, and just add to our repertoire of divisions that we have for this company. I've got my eyes on a couple of companies that got decent revenue. One of them's got like $30,000 a month. They're doing well. They've got about a 40% margin, and they want to expand, and they don't have the ability to do it. Predators, aren't giving anybody in the industry any credit. So if I can go in there and say, how much money do you need? Okay, you need a couple $100,000. Well, I'll be your partner. You want to own a little piece of it? You want to watch how the money's spent? Let's do this. Let's go together at it. And that's really our focus on the industry. And this is what everybody who's starting a business needs to think about. How do I get to the next level? You got to be creative. You got to let others in who know what they're doing and to help you grow your business. It's the same thing that we've always had to grow a business. And believe me, I go to a lot of places. Like I'm a keynote speaker with the Marijuana Investor Summit. And because of my positioning with the Jobs Act and Regulation A and 506C, I'm always asked to get up on stage and talk about this stuff. And the biggest thing I see from all the companies, and I sit on this panel that's kind of like a Shark Tank panel for the marijuana industry, and they come up and they pitch us and they pitch us and they pitch us. And they've got a business plan. but they've shortcutted everything. They don't have a real investor document where you invest in a company, you sign these documents, you release the liability of the company, meaning if they lose all your money, hey, you can't go after the principals. So they tried their hardest to run a business. A lot of these guys are skipping those steps, taking people's money and not thinking that those consequences, if their business doesn't work, they're in trouble.
Yeah, they're looking at it more donations type system where they're just getting money to use at will, and if it doesn't work out, well, it's lost money.
Yeah, well, they could get in a lot of trouble for that. Investors could sue them for not telling them, hey, making them sign a document, this is an investment. You could lose all your money. And that's why what we've got with this $420 minimum investment is really something that you look at and say, hey, listen, you could lose all your money. You need to go into the memorandum that's on the Start Engine site. You need to look through everything, understand it's an investment. Just like on Wall Street, everything could come crumbling down. However, you're betting on a management team that's had a lot of success. And losing $420, even somebody who's making $30,000, $40,000 a year, when's the last time you went to Vegas? You probably spent more than that. You're taking a little risk, and this is what the Jobs Act was built for. So everybody could become an investor and bring big business to the next level.
Coincidentally, I'm going to Vegas next week, and I've already budgeted far more than $420. Speaking of investing in other companies and people, do you look for product and companies over people, or do you look at people and then look at their product and company?
Well, I got to tell you, there's a little of both. Again, we're not branching off into cultivation until the Fed takes, marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 2, then we're going to jump into cultivation and be a cultivator, and that's what all our education's been about. But looking at the people and seeing their products. If somebody's got a hot product, we look at their hot product, and then we dive into the people. It's usually the product that will turn us on first. Then it's immediately, okay, who are these guys? We have an attorney on staff. He does a background check. We start looking real hard. And again, there's a couple of companies as we start seeing our funding, we're going to be investing in.
When you're out there working with companies and you're working with people, there must be friction that comes up, right? In all relationships of any type, whether business or personal, there's always some type of conflict. You've been doing this 3+ years. What are some of the barriers and conflict that you've had to overcome with just your personal team and then the larger picture?
Well, regulatory bodies are always a pain in the butt. I'll tell you that right now. You're always going to have a regulatory body looking over your shoulder. So especially now, we're being looked at. Anybody who's coming into the industry is looking hard. Anybody who's coming into the Jobs Act is being looked at hard. I got to tell you, when we get to these places, we're pretty well respected. People know that we're a successful group of people. And we got our head up. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or my team on the back, but people know right away that we're somebody that they want to, talk with and learn from. And we're very open about that. We want to share all of our experience. We want to help others because that's what we're here to do. If I was just doing this, I would have already just retired and lived somewhere outside of LA. I wouldn't be living in this fast-paced environment anymore. But I'm not doing this for the money. This isn't about the money. Don't get me wrong. I like money and I have nice things, but this isn't about the money. This is really about now giving us the ability to help change things, to help people. This is a rush to me. Back when I was younger, I'm 51 years old yesterday, and back when I was in my 30s, hey, making money was it. That was, hey, I was making money ethically, doing things the right way, living a great life, and now it's that's worn off a little bit. It's not about the money anymore. Now it's about helping change things, helping people, helping our community. And I got to tell you, for me to be able to grow jobs, that's an incredible feeling. To be able to be given the ability to grow jobs. And as this money starts to come in here, boy, am I going to get the chance to really grow some people and educate people and let them grow in their own, young people. I want to educate and hire young people out of college that really want to work hard and learn something and get to the next level. And that's really my goal as the founder of this company. And then Dr. Timmy's got a little different goal. His focus is to help people deal with pain and get them off of these opiate drugs, these other things that they're taking for stress. And it's too much. Marijuana is a cure for this stuff. Not maybe. People have proven it. It's there. So you take us again as a group and you put us together and look at our individual missions. It's a pretty awesome thing. It really is. And to be keeping the company that I'm keeping personally with this group is unreal. And I have no doubt that our company is going to move to the next level. not because of my focus as the founder of this company, but because of the focus of the people I've brought in next to me. I mean, these are just, I've got the least amount of credentials of anybody in our team, and these guys are just, wow. I mean, and I've spent a great deal of time with them, so it's personally as well. So it's pretty neat to have this group around me.
What I hear you saying is surround yourself with great people, and that will be the basis of the team, the dream team. Make sure everybody on your team is great, has similar goals or at least goals that are on the same track, and has some good education and background. And I mean, it's very motivating to hear you talk about this. And I think that's probably a good place to kind of send that message out to the world and let people kind of resonate with that. Because that, I think at the end of the day, regardless of your product and the specifics of how you're growing this business, I think the message you're bringing forward is really what people should hear. So why don't we go out on that note and let that be the last thing people hear? Because I think you're going to strike a chord with people, and they're going to get excited just as you are, and they're probably going to want to reach out and contact you, especially with all this job talk you're bringing up. So why don't we give people the outlet? Where can they get involved with you, with this company, on any level, whether it's just to be an investor, whether it's to apply for some type of job, any type of collaboration? How can people get in touch with you?
The first and foremost is going to our Start Engine page, and we've actually made our web page is our Start Engine page. So our web page is medx, and that's medx-rx.com. And what that's going to show you is the accomplishments that we have so far. There's a video there. It's very uplifting, tells our story, and you can see everything about our company, where we've been, our backgrounds, our board of directors. You can really see everything out there. The other place to go and watch is the marijuanatimes.org. Just like it sounds, marijuanatimes.org, and keep an eye on that. There's new things going out all the time, because we really want to focus on the jobs that we can create in the industry, and we think the Marijuana Times, very easy to remember to go there. It sounds like it's been around for a long time. It's ours, and we built it from the ground up, and this is a great outlet that you will learn a lot of stuff that we're doing, as well as a job board that's going to be posted there as we evolve in the next few months.
Very cool. You know, this has been a great conversation. I still feel like I have a million questions that I didn't get to, but that's okay. Because we can always follow up in the future, and there's so much information to really pull out of you. So maybe we can follow up again in the future sometime. And of course, anytime you're in Denver, please stop by our studio. It would be great to have you come by the studio and then maybe take a tour of the dispensary.
Yeah, be glad to. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And some of those questions that didn't get answered, hey, you might just find the answer over at the website. Stop by the Start Engine website, check it out. There's a lot of information there. I mean, it's quite a few pages, and again, a video and some news releases and just a lot of good stuff on it. So don't hesitate to jump in. And I will be in Denver come the 420 week. We've got an event going on there, the Ultimate 420 Experience, sponsored by the Marijuana Times. It's a contest that anybody 21 and older can get into. It's a contest where we fly you and 3 of your friends into Colorado, into the experience and showing you the marijuana town. And it really is. I mean, we take you to friendly hotels for marijuana usage. We take you to transportation that has uses. We bring you to the Cannabis Cup, feed you a bunch of times. We have some fun together touring the city. There's a little outdoor adventure along with this thing. It's a week-long event. It's probably about a $30,000 prize. So it is something that's out there. You can find it, the Ultimate 420 Experience. Just go look it up on the net. You can find it through the Marijuana Times as well. And it's something fun for everybody. We've got a lot of contestants have already signed up for it. It's been around for a while.
Wow, that is exciting. Stuff like that is always cool. Everybody loves to win stuff. And that sounds like a huge vacation package. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want that.
It's been a real pleasure being a part of this podcast. Really appreciate you having me, and I look forward to speaking to you again for sure.
Great. Thank you very much. There you have it, Cannapreneurs. That's all I have for you this week, but make sure to stay in touch with us. Stay with us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, all the networks out there, even Mass Roots and YouTube. Make sure to follow us every week right here. Leave your comments, give us your feedback, be on the show. We want to see you every week. This is your community, so make sure to come back. We'll see you next week.